So that's practical assistance you can go to when you actually need it. Because I say that all of our managers, all of our workers need to be trained out of the behavior that we've inherited. That takes time, but it can go a long way when you take the steps that I just described.
So this sounds to me like it requires some sort of a kickoff, a sort of a company, or at least a manager, department manager, worker conversation where the plantation culture is first distinguished.
Right.
Are you doing that currently with some of your clients?
No, I don't have anyone currently going on. It's come up as a theme in different company transformations I've been a part of, but I'm yet to see a company tackle it head on. And it's almost as if it's emotionally just too hard to deal with because the issues that it brings up around color, around class, around race are still very much alive. So I'm yet to see a company that's had the guts to deal with it straight on.
Huh. Well, sounds like a business opportunity for you, my friend.
It could be. It's just now to find the companies that have the courage to take on that kind of conversation in a public way.
Because it seems to me that acknowledging that it's a sensitive issue is not an excuse for not dealing with it.
Right.
And you, before I asked you this question, you were giving some very good examples of how a worker and the direct supervisor can sort of deal with this on a day-to-day basis. I'm very interested in the conversation and what kind of conversation, whether it's the CEO of the company calling a big meeting and having some storyteller, some presentation, some film that can be used to bring the issue to the light of day without inflaming any sensitivities, such that there's now a context from which your tips and techniques on a daily basis can then begin to function.
Boy, that's a great idea. I know the feeling I've had when I've seen TV shows like Roots, or my wife watched a movie from the 70s called Mandingo a time ago. And I never saw Mandingo, but just as she told me the outline, I could just feel my blood starting to boil. Um, and I don't like to watch slavery days movies or slavery days, even documentaries, because I personally get stirred up. I get upset. So that it tells me that video is so powerful that if you were to introduce the conversation using some video, some audio storytelling, you could very well evoke the and then not draw comparisons, but you could actually ask people, have you ever felt this way in the workplace, or where have you felt in a similar kind of feeling? And that could get the conversation going. I think that's a great idea.
Yeah. The biggest concern is to channel. I think an incorrect belief or conclusion that people go to when looking at movies like those is that it's a black white thing when it's not. It's a humanity issue. People enslave people of their own color, their own cultures. It's all deeply sensitive. So the challenge is going to be, how do you bring it up just as, hey, listen, this is how it was. There's nothing that it wasn't nice. There's so many things that happened in history that were terrible. But it happened, and there's nothing else to do now. Just deal with it, because there is an impact now in our day-to-day lives. So the purpose of the discussion is to really shine the light on what that impact is, and we can't see it unless we see what caused it.
Exactly. You have to get all the heads in the room nodding to say, yes, it's valid. Yes, it happened. Yes, it happens today in this form. And yes, we need to be vigilant, skillful, emotionally intelligent, aware, connected, all these ways in which we can begin to be responsible for what's running the show.
Yeah, so I think it's a great challenge. So I'm gonna just shift it slightly in terms of the question now is on a national scale, because it's not, it's dealing with it in a company. If I'm a CEO of that company, it would be a very, I would say it's more than it. To say it's important is an understatement.
Yes.
It goes straight to the very competitiveness of the company, not only within the country. Probably within the country, it's the safest because everybody else is playing with the same stack of cards.
Yes.
But internationally, you can't compete with a culture like that.
No.
So that would be top priority. The question then becomes, how do you deal with this on a national basis? Are you having any such discussions in Jamaica?
No, because I haven't heard a critical mass sort of interest in the topic, I would say. I haven't read it and I haven't seen it. Remember the unit of sort of where all the trouble takes place is in the workplace. So it doesn't necessarily extend to other places like families or schools or groups. It doesn't necessarily carry over to others, but it's definitely something to do with work. It would be great if the government could, for example, I wouldn't even talk about what it should do on a national level. If the government could, by example, because the government in Jamaica, and I believe the same is true in Trinidad and Barbados, government is the largest employer. And if it were to start to deal with these kinds of historical issues within its own sort of boundaries over which it has control, it would go a tremendous way in impacting the rest of society. Tremendous.
Yeah, agreed.
That's where I would start if I were in the government, just within the government.
All right, Francis, we're going to wrap it up here. I want to thank you for your time. It's always a pleasure to speak with you, my friend.
Same on this side. It's fun. It's fun and it's challenging and it's interesting. I look forward to the next one.